Want to become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne. Want to become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne. Want to become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne. Want to become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne. Want to become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Reclaim Your Throne coming at you with another crazy video. But first, my goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. You already know. Reclaim Your Throne. So guys, we have to get into this. Damn, I just keep dropping my damn phone. But yeah, we are going to break down the Andrew Wilson and Coach Greg Adams debate. We're going to basically do reaction to the debate, and it was a pretty contentious debate. You got two guys who are kind of on the same side of things when it comes to the female nature aspect, but have two different ways of going about it. And Andrew Wilson is a marriage guy and all this kind of stuff. And Coach Greg Adams, he's already been married. He's been there, done that, went through his divorce, put his trials and tribulations online for all of us to see, led the MGTOW movement, turned it into the free agent lifestyle. So, I mean, this guy, he's been through the trenches. He kind of knows what he's talking about. And now he's, letting guys in on, the junior college. So, and that's something I've been talking about for the longest. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely a seasoned guy. Definitely a guy who knows what he's talking about. And Andrew Wilson, honestly, Andrew Wilson is married to a divorced woman. Okay. The wife that he's with now is previously divorced. I'm not trying to take a personal shot at him, but it's like, bro, I mean, you're not getting first dibs. So, I always look at the situation that the man is in, like, bro, you're not getting first dibs, and you're talking all this high and mighty on the marriage shit, but bro, your marriage is built off of another man's marriage. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know much about I know his wife, Rachel Wilson. She, appears on different streams and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to take shots at them. I'm just saying that, you're playing another man's saved game. And, that's just how it goes. And that's how we're going to look at it as guys who are in the red vitamin space. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the debate. Should be fun. We're going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about marriage, and we're going to talk about divorce. So this debate, it gets pretty heated. We're going to get through as much as we can. So let's get to it.
Let's get this thing going. I'll kick it off. You guys ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, guys, finally getting started. Thanks for being patient. I know there was some delay.
Good children. Yeah, man, marriage is a great institution. It was an institution that built the community of America. Most of the better communities that have safety, good children, good schools are typically centered around marriage. However, marriage has not progressed to the point where men could be safe legally, and a lot of men have experienced tremendous damage, collateral damage as a result, and it has led to broken families, a lot of broken hearts, simply because the laws are not positioned to benefit both people in a divorce. Therefore, you have no-fault divorce. You have opportunities for women to use the courts against men. And as a result, men have seen 1, 2, and 3 generations of men getting harmed, their grandfathers, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers getting harmed by this. So Generation Z men are not positioning themselves for a positive marriage. So at this particular point, if someone asked me, would I recommend marriage for them, and they were in a certain position in life, they weren't established, I would say no. There's no benefit for the person to get married today.
Got it. Your response, Andrew?
Yeah, I didn't hear any anti-marriage arguments. I heard anti-divorce arguments.
Okay, so Andrew Wilson is the same guy who on the whatever podcast, they had this man try and open a jar of, I don't know if it was a jar of pickles or something like that, but it was bad. It was embarrassing. Like, it was just, despicable. So I kind of want to play that for context, just because, we're talking about being a man, we're talking about, masculinity and marriage and all this kind of stuff. But bro can't open a pickle jar. So let's get into that really quickly before we get into his point of it. All right, here we go.
Uh-oh. Come on, you can do it.
Put it right side up. Just
You
so
can do
doesn't
it. You
spill
got
on
this.
All right, bro. I can't do it. Here.
Nice.
Dude, this seems a little immature. No. For
Hey, the guy
$1,000.
sent $1,000.
Yeah, but it seems slightly immature.
It's all fucking
It's just
slick
for,
now.
it's a little,
See, it
little fun.
is.
I gotta grip it.
Uh-oh, Andrew. If you can't open it either.
Well, your hand greased the whole top of it.
My hand are fine. Here, high five.
It
My shoes
literally-
are slow.
It's look, feel it. Isn't that greasy?
It was like that already. Oh my God.
No,
here
it
go.
wasn't. You greased the top.
Use
Oh
your
my
shirt.
Jesus,
Use your
Andrew.
shirt,
If you can't open the olive jar, you cannot
Here,
blame my
while we're doing
hand.
olive jar.
If you're so strong, you should open it.
Yeah, I gotta be able to grip it.
Okay, we'll grip it. Let's
It's
go.
literally slippery.
Uh-oh. Back.
Grab me a paper towel so I can dry the top of it off.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Come on, you can do
Put
it.
Put it right side up. Just
You
so
can
it
do
doesn't
it. You
spill
got
on
this.
All right, bro. I can't do it. Here.
Nice.
Dude, this seems a little immature. No. For
Hey, the guy
$1,000.
sent $1,000.
Yeah, but it seems slightly immature.
It's all fucking
It's just
slick
for,
now.
it's a little,
See, it
little fun.
is.
I gotta grip it.
Uh-oh, Andrew. If you can't open it either.
Well, your hand greased the whole top of it.
My hand are fine. Here, high five.
It
My shoes
literally-
are slow.
It's look, feel it. Isn't that greasy?
It was like that already. Oh my God.
no,
here
it
go.
wasn't. You greased the top.
Use
Oh
your
my
shirt.
Jesus,
Use your
Andrew.
shirt,
If you can't open the olive jar, you cannot
Here,
blame my
while we're
hand.
doing olive jar.
If you're so strong, you should open it.
Yeah, I gotta be able to grip it.
Okay, we'll grip it. Let's
It's
go.
literally slippery.
Oh my God.
Back.
Grab me a paper towel so I can dry the top of it off.
Wow. And then he ends up handing it off to the next guy. And the guy ends up opening the jar. I don't know if we have that clip. Damn, I wish I had that clip, but that shit was funny as hell. Like, bro, you can't open a jar. Oh shit. Hold on. Oh, they're just memeing him up. Oh, he tried hard as hell too. Damn. I'm trying to get the full video. They got music behind it and everything. Damn. Let's see if I can get it. Shout out to King David for Christ. He says, the older I get, the more I see that CGA is right on many things. Only thing I don't agree with is him being an atheist and his pay for play stance on dancing, which I understand because 80% of women want transactional dating and want to be prostitute 304, but want men to overlook their past, wife them up, give them kids, retire them, give them resources while they end up like Lana Rhodes and Offset. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all men gonna end up paying. All men are gonna end up paying at some point. So I think his stance on that is just cut to the chase. But that's just how the game goes, man. So I mean, this is who we're dealing with: Andrew Wilson, who can't open a jar of pickles.
So I'm with you on divorce, 100%.
Stream over.
And
I agree.
But it's a good thing that the topic isn't on divorce; it's on marriage. And it seems like you agree with my proposition then. And the proposition is that marriage, quote, is a great institution.
Yep.
And that right now your concern is that men can't be safe in marriage, but that's not actually what you're saying. You're not saying men can't be safe in marriage. They can. You're saying that they may not be safe in divorce. So I have a counter proposition for you. My counter proposition is, what if it's the case that you can use religious marriage institutions without the state? And then we add the ecclesiastical structure of the marriage.
Okay, now he says, what if you can add religious marriage structures instead of the state. Here's the issue. Okay. Women have choice now. They have the choice to get into a marriage. They have the choice to be religious, for that matter, or choose not to be religious. And a lot of women are, believe it or not, are choosing not to be religious. They're choosing not to get married. And when you're trying to sell them on this religious stuff, it sounds and feels culty. And, we all know over here that, we believe in God and all that good stuff. But when you try and structure it with the women involved and okay, let's not involve the state, then it seems kind of subversive. And that's like what the Mormons do. That's what the Amish do. But you don't hear the stories of the women coming out of those communities. And if you do, which I have, because there are women who are in my, who I know personally, actually, who have escaped, Amish or Mormon. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. The cults, like they've escaped those things. And I'm telling you right now, the women are not putting up with that stuff. Like, and a lot of times there's abuse. A lot of times there are, illegal unions, meaning 40-year-old priest takes a 15, 16-year-old wife and they keep it in the community and nobody knows. I'm telling you, it's some weird shit going on. So when you're thinking about, oh, well, let's put it in a religious context and it's all going to be honky dory. Well, then you're going to have some priests who are going to argue, hey, well, this person in the Bible met their wife when she was 16 or 14, or you're going to have those arguments. You're going to have those arguments. So those are going to play out. Those are going to play out. And those are actually going to be things that's going to make people turn away from your religion, especially when you take away the choice of the woman, and you try and go back to arranged marriages. It sounds good. It feels good. You try and go into marriages between religions. So what happens if they do divorce? Are you not going to allow them to divorce? Like, how are you going to actually enforce that without the state? And that's the issue. So when they do get divorced, how do they split up the assets? Is it based off of the man's generosity? Because what if he says, oh, she ain't getting shit and she raised my kids from this? So you're going off of a lot of faith. And it's not, I don't even have the problem with having faith in God that he's going to sort it out. I have the problem with putting your faith in man. And that's what Andrew Wilson is doing. Why say, oh, well, we're going to have an ecclesiastical marriage structure. Well, not everybody is ecclesiastical. And then, you got other people who are Catholic. You got other people who are, they practice Judaism. You got other people who are Muslim. So you have all of these different religions, and you're not just going to be able to do a broad sweeping statement on that, especially when the country is getting more and more diverse, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. I don't give a fuck what ICE is doing. They're not deporting enough people to make it so that the country isn't getting more diverse. So I just don't think that you're going to be able to do a broad sweeping thing on that. All you're going to do is encourage the men in your church to do that. But even those marriages are not going to work. 50% of them are going to fail.
That's what always kept them together anyway, before the state was ever involved. So what if instead we use the ecclesiastical church, the structure of the old churches, that would be Catholicism and Orthodoxy, where you see the lowest divorce rates, because the community puts pressure on the women to act right. That's what they do.
I mean, do they? It's, and I have no problem. He's talking about Orthodoxy. He's talking about, the Catholic. I have no problem with, the different denominations in Christianity. Like, obviously, I'm a Christian, so we rocking with that. But it's just, I just don't see that actually manifesting in real life, especially if the guy is soft. All right. I don't see the enforcement from the social group, right? Because women are not saying, oh, don't get divorced, stay with your man. Da, da, da. Even if they are in the church, they're going to hear the stories. They might be chatty pattying about in pillow talking with their girlfriends about the relationship and how he don't do this right and he don't do chores and he don't lift the toilet seat and he don't drop the toilet seat. And then he, he doesn't do dishes and he wants a patriarchal structure and he doesn't do any housework and she's doing the dishes, cleaning the, helping with the kids, doing all that stuff. And then the man is not helping with the housework. I mean, whether you like it or not, yes, a lot of women are asking for men to be quote unquote providers, but then they also want those men to help around the house. Not saying that you shouldn't do that as a man. As a matter of fact, I'm picking up as I go. I'm picking up. If I see some dirt on the ground, I'm sweeping that thing up. We're not leaving clutter. We're not leaving trash. We're not leaving dirt. Right. But at the same time, though, the marriage structure is no longer the wife is a helpmate or serving the husband. It's more so that the man is serving the wife, right? Especially with these, what modern women are asking for. They want my money is my money, your money is your money. I mean, we just had Akash sing, and I'm sure he's in a Hindu type situation, but his wife just came out and dissed him. I mean, and said, hey, your money is my money, your money is our money, right? So you see his wife just came out and dissed him, and they're no different from a Christian, they're no different from a Christian relationship. I don't care what y'all say. The Indian Indian people in general, they typically don't get divorced. They typically don't. So it's not about, if it's under a Christian structure. No, it's about culture. And just overall, I think it's mainly about culture. But the culture has shifted. So the next generation, they are not beholden to staying together for forever. I mean, you see the next generation, they don't really care about that. If they feel like as a woman they're being mistreated, they're going to move on. And that's just how it is. And a lot of men don't think that they're mistreating a woman. You may not be mistreating her from a moral standpoint or biblical standpoint even, but you could be mistreating her based off of what her needs become or are in that present day or what they become in the future. In the future.
Right now, the state applies no pressure on women to act right? You can just go and file whatever you want, get a divorce, and go be banging the neighbor by the next night. We totally agree on that. But to say that we should abandon marriage is silly. It seems like you're completely pro-marriage. You're just anti-divorce. So why wouldn't you just throw your weight behind institutions where the divorce rate is the least, and you have an ecclesiastical structure which can be appealed to assist with that? That's what makes no sense to me.
My response to that is if we're fifths, we beat all drunk. All right. So that's a scenario that just isn't present.
Can you explain?
Yeah. So he's saying throw your support behind the churches. Throw your support behind these, how do I say? These clerical structures. And I believe in community, all that stuff, but the problem is the church cannot stop your wife from leaving you, and the church cannot stop your wife from leaving the church. Even I'm telling you guys right now, you have a lot of guys who are doing it right. They think they're doing everything right. They're going to church, they're doing all that, and then they end up getting pussified in their relationship. It just happens over time. All right. It's death by 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 concessions, where you concede on your manhood in that particular relationship over and over and over again. And that's what actually happens to a lot of these relationships that turn sour. And then when you try and put your big boy pants on and stand up for yourself, it is viewed as emotional abuse. It is viewed as financial abuse. It is viewed as trying to turn her into a slave and not enforcing discipline. As a husband, you cannot enforce any type of discipline on your wife. And I'm not talking about physical discipline. I'm just talking about in general in this society, you can't enforce no discipline on your wife. Take away the credit card, financial abuse. Speak to her in a stern manner, emotional abuse. That's just what's going on.
The analogy for me.
Well, if we use if, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If we say if we have a situation where this is present, then this would work. Well, that makes sense. If we had that,
we
it
do
would
have
work
it right now.
Well, it doesn't necessarily work because, and I'm going to tell you why, because a woman can go to a divorce attorney and they can simply just say, hey, listen, it was a off the cuff, off the state divorce, but you got married within a certain state, or she filed in a certain state, so therefore the divorce goes on.
No,
Absolutely,
okay.
yes.
Well,
Listen, I've been to with the divorce attorneys, and what they'll tell you is,
yeah, and Andrew Wilson isn't accounting for common law marriage, and I think they actually get into it. But there are let's see. How many common law marriage states are there? Let's see. They want to 7 states in the District of Columbia that currently allow common law marriage to be formed. Additionally, some states previously recognized common law marriages but no longer do, though they still acknowledge those formed before a specific cutoff date. So you got Colorado, District of Columbia, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Texas, Utah. So if you're in any of these states, and Texas has a huge Catholic population, Utah has a huge Mormon population, Montana, Kansas, Christian, Iowa, Christian. If you're in, and this is where a lot of middle America, white America is, if you're in these states, you think you're going to, I'm going to get in a religious marriage and I'm going to be immune to divorce laws. You're wrong, buddy. You're wrong. You're going to try and say, oh yeah, I'm in this religious marriage. And then it's going to be viewed by the courts as it's going to be viewed by the courts as a legal marriage, as a legally common law marriage. And she's going to be entitled to the same thing she would be entitled to if it was a real marriage.
hey, listen, you can get married in a ritual, you can get married in the orthodoxy, you can get married off record. But if she files and that woman is hell-bent on saying, we got married, I don't care if it was a ceremony where we walked on coals with our feet bare, that's considered a marriage. You also have common law. You have a lot of other ways for that woman to establish marriage.
How does your way eliminate common law?
I don't have any way to eliminate common law.
So
what
then,
I have is a way for men to avoid
well, then the
being
argument's
used.
silly.
No, the argument's not silly. So here's what you have. You have a if proposition, which doesn't exist for most men. Most men aren't religious. Most men aren't looking to be under a religious orthodoxy. So it doesn't apply. So you're taking a moral standard or a religious standard to apply to people who aren't under that veil.
So let's start with a couple of things you said which are fundamentally untrue. Most men are religious, in fact, including in this country. Most of them, not some of them.
But they're not religious.
Hang on. I didn't interrupt.
I understand, but
Yeah, and again, he's not understanding the context of your religion. Saying most men are religious, yeah, sure, most people are religious in general, but are they under your religion? Meaning, are they under orthodoxy? Are they under ecclesiastical? Are they under Catholic? He wants to encompass all men in his framework of mind, but at the end of the day, you're not taking account for Muslim men, Hindu men. You're not taking into account for even Christian men who are non-denominational. You're not taking into account even Christian men who are Baptist, Methodist. It's going to be different for each denomination, each religion as you see fit. So you can't do a broad, you can't sweep this on the rug with a broad brush because it doesn't identify with every single man. And then not to mix in, the difference of religion between men and women and their interpretation, because you might be the same religion as that woman, but she's going to have a different interpretation of the Bible. If I pull out a verse that she doesn't like, she's going to say, oh, well, that's Old Testament. And then, and then if I pull out a verse, and she pulls out a verse that she likes in the New Testament, she's going to be like, yeah, this is only valid because it's New Testament. Right. And this ain't Old Testament. So you got some people who are just completely throwing away the Old Testament as if it's just chopped liver. So they're not even living by the Old Testament. They only living by half the book. So you have to understand, like, your interpretation of your religion is not the same as the woman's interpretation of said religion. That's why we got into the whole debate with the trad wives, who Allie Beth Stuckey, who came online and was telling men, stop watching porn. But she had nothing to say about OnlyFans and the women who are actually creating the content. You eliminate the supply, there's no demand. So this is what she's not talking about. And a grown man watching adult content is nowhere near as bad as a young woman trying to, or creating the OF and then tempting not only grown married men, which is the majority of the demographic, as we learned from speaking to the woman yesterday. Angel, we spoke to Angel yesterday in the on stream, and she told us the majority of her demographic were, white, married, Christian men between 40 to 70 years old is what she said. So, and that's a fact. And she said that's the majority of her clientele. And she runs a phone sex operation or something like that. And, no disrespect to Angel, but I mean, she damn near looked like she had meth mouth. And she got these niggas giving her $900 a day on the phones. So these are high-level simps you're talking about who are in the church who, you have no idea what they actually want because they are living under sexual repression. Again, sexual access and sexual variety is essential to a man's mental health. And when you are actually realizing, especially as an older man who is getting into the social media age and now he has a smartphone and, there's a bad bitch at every click of the button for these older men, especially these older white men who are the main demographic and consumers of this type of content. I'm telling you right now, they are succumbing to temptation. I just tweeted, I actually just tweeted there's a sportscaster who got caught, getting finessed by AI porn, right? So Rob Ryan. So we got Rob Ryan here, and this is why Andrew Wilson's line of thinking is just not going to work. And look, I mean, these are the men who are turning the OnlyFans bitches into millionaires. Rob Ryan, sports columnist emeritus for the Boston Globe. He's a sports commentator for the Boston Globe, married man, and he's over here falling for AI corn. This is the post that he fell for. Am I too old for you, Miss Helen Amy? Member of the Classy Honeys, retired teacher, strict but sweet, need tutoring ? And she is an AI bitch. She said, men rejected me because I'm too old. Please say hi if you think I'm good looking. The nigga said, hi there. And you're going to tell, I mean, he's Christian. He's got to be, right? He fits the demographic of what Andrew Wilson is talking about. And Christian, married, in his 60s, gets finessed by AI porn. This doesn't even look real. This is Tulsi Gabbard. This is an aged Tulsi Gabbard Grok AI conversion in lingerie. And he fell for it. I mean, absolutely hilarious. But this is your main demographic. And if I go into the comment section, I'm sure I'll find way more than just Rob. and I'm not even trying to pick on Rob or Bob Bob Ryan. I'm not. Oh my God. Oh my fucking goodness. Rex Harris, another middle-aged white guy who fell for it. Hi, I'm Rex in Dallas, Texas. Tell me he's not married. This is a Christian emblem, it looks like, too, on his shirt. Tell me he's not married. Going to church every single day in Dallas, Texas, where common law marriage, we just learned common law marriage is law. I mean, it's all in the comment section if you just want to go and realize, look, I mean, Scott Anello, another middle-aged, I mean, what the hell? These are the main consumers. He's getting finessed by AI porn. Scott G. Anello, Trump supporter, Winchester, Virginia. I mean, come on, Andrew Wilson. This is the demographic that you're saying should get married. And I mean, thank God their wives are I guess they're on another side of the internet, because Jesus. Well, let's continue.
We just take that point. Most aren't under your religion.
Okay.
We can agree with that.
So here's the thing, though. But Catholicism and Orthodoxy is growing rapidly. And if it's the case that the ecclesiastical structure is already there, which it is, right? If you're going to cohabitate with a woman, the thing that you're offering right now is common law marriage anyway, if there's cohabitation at all. You're not protecting anybody from that. At least under my model, it gives an ecclesiastical structure that's designed to prevent divorce by applying community pressure. That was the way it was always done. Apply the application of community pressure within the confines of the woman's social circle. Right now, do you agree with me, for instance, that many divorces happen because women like to yap? So you get a freshly divorced woman, and she's free. You go, girl. Girl power. And she starts talking to her little friends, and she starts telling them how liberating it is and how great it is and this and that. And this is why when women have divorced friends, their likelihood of divorce actually rapidly increases. It's for this reason.
Divorce is contagious.
So if it's the case that this social contagion is eliminated because now we have an ecclesiastical structure, an ecclesiastical authority, which won't grant it because you get ostracized from that social group through excommunication, for instance, or not being able to participate anymore with that community, that's an application of a serious and significant social pressure, which can do the very thing you want. Bring back that great institution, absent the state, and it avoids this whole problem of common law marriage. Because if it's the case that you can be common law married anyway inside of a state, and they can get grounds for divorce on that anyway, then we actually need to have some social pressures to prevent them from doing that. So it sounds like we agree marriage is awesome for men. Divorce is terrible for them. So it seems like we should be attacking the divorce structure here, and it doesn't seem like you actually have anything to do that other than just avoid the thing that's great for you, because this other bad side effect could happen.
Sure, that's
so
like smoking cigarettes.
So why don't we attack the bad side effect when we have the mechanism to do it? It's not if, we can do it now.
Okay,
right
so
this
like
second.
smoking cigarettes is the same analogy you're saying. Okay, here, cigarettes in this situation, we obviously know it has negative side effects, so you would avoid it. Now, here's the issue that I have with it. It sounds great on paper, but we can't travel to the land of make-believe. It sounds great. The majority of people probably wouldn't do it. And if you ask a guy, which this is an important part, they're not even prepared to even talk about that. They don't even know what divorce laws are. So you're asking them to travel to the land of make-believe under a marriage system that small percentage of people use.
Yeah, and I mean, one solution could be educating men about the divorce laws, because nobody, I think the only one who kind of alluded to that is Coach Greg Adams, because nobody is trying to educate men on, hey, this is what can happen if you get married without a prenup. Hey, this is what can happen if you get married without a divorce, or if you get divorced without a prenup, or if you get divorced, in a situation where you have kids, or if you get divorced and your wife accuses you of some foul shit. There are some situations where the wife will accuse the husband of sexual abuse of the children. It happens. So that ties things up, and that hurts your I mean, it hurts your face card and your character in that city, in that town. Not only the mental stress, some people can't deal with that. Some people can't get through that. So you have to understand that women have the ability to completely destroy a man through the divorce courts and child support court, for that matter, alimony, all this shit, spousal support. The list goes on and on. So you have to be aware of this. But a lot of men can't fathom these scenarios because they believe that a lot of women are sugar and spice and everything nice and can't do any wrong.
No one uses it today. You might have said they used it to the past. Today, that doesn't exist. So we can't travel to the land of make-believe to make marriage work for you. It might work in your marriage, but it doesn't work for the greater structure.
Your argument here contradicts itself, because on the one hand, you say men don't know enough about marriage, but my assumption is that your mission is to let men know about marriage.
Absolutely.
Okay, well then I don't understand how it's the land of make-believe if you can let them know about this, but I can't.
Sure.
Right.
So you can offer that.
So if I am, it sounds like I'm offering a real alternative to what you're offering. And here's what you're offering. Men, marriage is great. It's a great institution. It's the best for children. These are your words. In marriage, right, men seem to thrive. Their health seems to thrive. Everything seems to thrive. You're saying, well, the problem is that divorce rates are high, and they are. However, there's a few things there that you haven't covered. One, it depends on demographic, too. For instance, if you're black, it's going to be way worse than if you're white.
Correct.
Okay? Way worse.
So yes, in the sense that many black women never actually get married, but you do have 54% of black men getting married. So you have to differentiate between the genders, for one. And then if you want to look in the divorce rate for white, well, let's just say white Americans, I mean, you're still getting a lot of divorces here. I mean, it's just the fact, okay? So let's see. Okay, so it says the divorce rate for white non-Hispanic women peaked at 30.8 for those aged 15 to 24. God damn, who's getting married at 15? Which is higher than the rate for Hispanic women in the same group. So it looks like Hispanic women are more likely to stay with their men than any other. And and it looks like, let's see, I'm trying to find the black divorce rate. So it says white women have a marriage to divorce ratio of 2.1, meaning there were 2.1 marriages for every one divorce in 2018. This is higher than the ratio for black women, which is 1.6, but lower than for Hispanic or other race of women. So it shows that, white women obviously are getting divorced less, but it's not, what's the difference? 0.5 on a divorce rate? That just means for every 2.1 marriages, there's a divorce. And for a black woman, it's for every 1.6 marriages. I mean, honestly, yes, you can say, oh, it's a big percentage difference, but at the end of the day, it's not really. It's basically round up 2, round down 2. For every 2 marriages, you're getting 1 divorce. So, to make that point as if, oh, well, if you're going to, it doesn't matter. We're talking about modern women in general. The divorce rate is still going to be relatively similar, if not the same.
And also socioeconomics matters, right? Demographics in general matter. So you can do a lot, actually, including prenuptial agreements. You can have a prenuptial agreement with the ecclesiastical authority without the state even involved. And it seems like that would mitigate your risk to damn near nothing.
Prenup is not going to hold up in court. Even if you try and have a prenuptial agreement without the actual legal nuptial, that will 100% not stand up in court. That will 100% not stand up in court. Let me repeat myself. That 100% will not stand up in court. Okay? It's not going to hold up. Because you can't have a nuptial, keyword nuptial. So pre-nuptial, before nuptials, without actually doing the legal nuptial. Okay? So if you have a prenuptial without a legal marriage, that prenup is not going to stand up in court, bro. I'm telling you that right now. Especially if your financial ability raises to that much, right? Raises to enough to where it's a big, it's a big difference in earning ability. You're going to be held liable, especially in a common law state.
You said if about 50 times
So did
today.
you.
Now, here's what I'm telling you.
So
I'm
did
telling you
you.
when, all right? We're already in this system. You're going outside of the system to create a scenario for me to argue
What
against.
system are you going outside of?
We're talking about marriage is typically done with the state. Almost everyone does it this way.
Typically
so now
is
you're
not-
here's hold
is
on for a
not
second. Hold on
must.
for a second. You've
Typically
moved the
doesn't mean
goalposts.
anything.
You've moved the goalposts to a scenario of if, and you're arguing from
is.
the if. No,
Is.
hold on for a second. You're arguing from the if perspective.
It is perspective.
No, listen.
It is
Give
the
me a
is
chance to
perspective.
listen.
All right,
give
I'll
me a
give you
chance.
Go ahead.
You're arguing from a very small percentage point. Now you're saying demographics, and we can talk about that, but you're still trying to get me to argue in your cloud of if. That's the land of make believe. Most people, by far, are married to the state. Not only that, your land of make believe still exists. The prenup with the ecclesiastics, you can write whatever you want in that prenup. It only matters in the divorce. That's the reality. So I'm still dealing in reality. You're in the clouds. Hold on for a second. You're in the clouds. So let's take the demographics.
Okay.
In your scenario, it sounds like, which would be fair, your primary concern is with white people.
No, it's with
Hold
all
on for a
people.
second. You said with black people, the demographics, the chance is higher.
Yeah.
So have you discovered the ecclesiastics approach to black people married within this?
Yes.
However, their demographics, economics, which all do affect marriage, has nothing to do in the land of the clouds or the make-believe with ecclesiastics. It's all going to boil down to in the law. And there's no church reverend that's going to go into your household to make sure there's social pressure on your wife. Do you know
yes,
any?
sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know any that can cover all?
Bro, what social pressure can a religious clergyman put on your wife? If your wife does not want to fuck you, that's why you got a lot of these accounts talking about marital grape and how there's no such thing as marital grape. If you have to get to the point of marital grape to have sex with your wife, you're cooked. It's over. You're done. So, there's no priest who's going to come into your home and say, hey, you better have sex with your husband. That's not how it works, bro. It's not how it works. And it will never work like that.
Marriages. That
Yes.
answer is no.
Yes. And by the way, when you keep
Are we in reality here?
I'm
or are we in
trying.
the clouds?
When
I mean,
you're-
we're
when
not
you're-
we're not arguing
I was
anything
just
legitimate.
trying- I was just
this
trying
is
to-
this.
Not to mention that the church is very femcistic. So they're going to be on the woman's side no matter what. Your priest is going to be on the woman's side no matter what. You're going to ultimately end up being the blame for any issues in that marriage. Ask any man who's been through a divorce and tried to go through, the church to mediate it first. The church ended up siding with the wife, even if she was right or even if she was wrong.
This is in the land of make believe.
Well, when
You
I'm
don't have
allowed to
enough-
respond, let
Okay,
me know.
give me a second.
Go
Let
ahead.
me finish this point.
Go ahead.
You're imagining. Your imagination is great. John Lennon would be great. You would be proud of you at this particular point.
But I'm imagining all the people.
You're imagining all the people under a situation and a structure that you brought in here. All right. But the state highly governs this, and the state highly governs divorce. I'm dealing in a reality situation where I'm trying to counsel men to give information to. The best thing you've told me is that you're willing to give men the option to do this. Are they willing to all do this option? The answer is probably not, just like they're not willing to do what I'm telling them to do. However, we're both attempting, which is a good thing. It's noble. However, your situation rarely exists. can we talk about the reality of what exists?
Sure.
Absolutely. So let's take your moral religious crusade out of it and talk about the reality.
Yeah, let's
Are you
not.
willing to do that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
See, you're not willing to do that
Well,
because it's
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because this is another point. These men can't even get their women to vote for what they want to vote for. They can't even agree on who to vote for. You had 84% of women in New York voting for Zoran Mamdani, and the conservative men were online, saying, hey, we're going to go for Andrew Cuomo, the guy who they were just bashing a few years ago when he dealt with the whole COVID-19 situation in the grandmas. So, I mean, they can't even get the women to vote the way that they want, let alone have sex with them in a sexless marriage. Let alone fucking not divorce them. It's absolutely hilarious. The way Andrew Wilson is just negating all of female nature and all of the bitches on the whatever podcast. He's thinking that these women are just, oh, you're only picking hoes and OnlyFans bitches. No, these are the college educated women, the small town women. They all are moving to the city. They're all going to the city. They're all moving more left because they seen the radical right, whether it be within their family members or it be, online, and they don't like it. It's icky to them. That's just the reality. So they're moving further left, and there's nothing y'all can do about it, and y'all aren't stopping them from voting this way.
So 84% of women under the age of 30 voted for Mamdani yesterday in the New York mayoral race, which is pretty significant.
So 84% of women in New York don't believe in the traditional political definition of conservative values. And you're telling men to go into the slaughter and marry these women. Think about that. These are conservative men now, and their ideas and their beliefs and their viewpoint on life is going to get exposed in the marriage. So when these conservative men or whoever they are that these conservative religious Christian men, they get into those relationships, then they start feeling free, they start feeling loose, and they start saying really how they feel about different political things, and they're going to be in total disagreement, disarray, unequally yoked. But you're telling men to rush into and run into this institution. You're serving them up to be slaughtered financially, emotionally. It's just that simple.
And I saw online a tweet from one woman who said the reason so many young women voted for Mamdani is because he provides what their husbands and their boyfriends can't, which he provides allegedly free things, necessities, support, protection. So 84%.
So, I mean, you heard what she said. And she said the reasons why they voted for Mamdani. So these conservatives can't even get their own women to vote the way that they want them to vote. Especially after they did vote. See, we did have 64% of white women voting for Trump, right, in the general election, in the presidential election. But then they're seeing the results, and now everybody's going hard left again because they're seeing that Trump is not fulfilling what he promised. It's that simple.
All based on your reality.
Guess what? It's a debate, and I will argue my points from my view, how I see fit. It's not for you to govern.
But what I'm not going to do is expect to be arguing from the land of make believe.
Yeah, but it's
okay.
Not,
all right. So
okay,
anybody
my
have
turn? My turn.
Anybody
Relax.
have anybody have the sound effect for the television show where the train comes through, Mr. Rogers?
Let me know
because I want to be on. I want to be on Earth.
Yeah. Let me know.
All right.
Let's let Andrew respond.
Yeah. So the thing is it's funny that you bring up "Imagine All the People" of John Lennon, which is an anti-religious song, and hilariously enough, was designed to assist with female empowerment. Isn't that hilarious? But the thing here is you keep on saying that what I'm offering is make-believe, but it's not. It's been governing the Orthodox and Catholic Church for 2,000 years.
Again, I mean, but people are rejecting that viewpoint. People are rejecting the Orthodox Catholic. They're rejecting that. They're not falling in line with that en masse. Like the majority of people are not falling in line with that. This is what I'm trying to explain to you guys, because ultimately you think that these women believe in what you believe in, submit to your husband. But when it ends up, when push comes to shove and they actually have choice, they're not doing that. This is what he fails to realize.
Including in this country. Now, here, let me give you an example, for instance, the Amish, right? Do you know what the divorce rate is among
The Amish. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. The Amish don't let their people have cell phones and TVs and all this stuff. You think modern women are going without their cell phones and television and Netflix? You got to be out your goddamn mind to bring up the Amish as an example of a successful religious structural marriage? Bro, I promise you, dude, those women are miserable. If you go on Instagram and you see how women were dressing during Halloween, they don't want to live like the Amish, brother. I'm telling you. They are not living like the Amish anymore, bro. They're not. It's young, wild, and free. They're not trying to be cooped up in the house. They outside. They are outside. They are outside.
Hold on. Hello? Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!
Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Nobody wants to be Amish, bro. Nobody wants to be Amish. I'm telling you. That's why they have a small community. That's why they have a small community. I'm telling you, nobody, for one, you think you're going to get women to dress up like the Amish? Yeah, maybe for Halloween, but they tits going to be out. It's going to be a sexy Amish costume. It ain't going to be covered up. You can't see no curves. Bro, you're not getting women to accept the Amish doctrine. You're just not. You're just not.
them? It's almost non-existent, and yet they're still governed by the same laws of the land that you're speaking to. So sounds like if I give a counter, if I say, look, I can give you a way, a methodology in which you can utilize the religious ecclesiastical institution which has existed for 2,000 years and has right now the lowest divorce rates, right this second as we speak, not in make-believe land, not hundreds of years in the future, right this second, as opposed to the system you have of common law divorce, which is sky high and you can't do anything about it. That's what is true.
Bro, again, citing the Amish divorce rates as a statistical, a statistical strong point in your argument is flawed in and of itself, because the Amish, they are not adopting modern technology. There's about 400,000 Amish in the United States as of 2025, not a large amount if you compare it to the 350 million people that are in this country. I mean, come on, dude. No modern woman is signing up to be Amish. She actually wants to go to the grocery store. She actually wants to buy Amazon. She actually wants to Instacart. She actually wants to DoorDash. She doesn't want to live in this cooped up country ass, you know what I'm saying? That's just not how women look. They want iPads and iPhones and the new, bro, a woman will reject you if you don't have an iPhone. If you have an Android, and hell, with the Amish, you're going to be working with a flip phone or a BlackBerry. So I'm telling you this right now, a woman will reject you for having a damn Android. And Androids, some would argue Androids are superior to Apple iPhones. But if you send those green messages, you're going to get rejected. The Amish are sending letters through the mail, through your PO box. And you think that is, a substantial argument? No modern woman wants to live like the Amish. You can forget about it.
So pointing out what is true is right now you can have a prenup. That is true. What is true is prenups are usually held up in court. That is true. What is true is that you can have a
Prenups are held up in court. No, here's the thing. When prenups get in front of a judge determines if this prenup is fair or not based on where the financial situation of both men and women are at that point. So I mean, I'm not just going to go up and say prenups, majority of prenups stand up in court. Because most divorce attorneys will say it doesn't matter what's in the prenup. Most divorce attorneys will tell you it doesn't matter what's in a prenup. As a matter of fact, they're telling their clients, your wife, it doesn't matter what's in the prenup. Oh, baby, we're going to get around this. Don't worry. But I signed a prenup and I don't know how. Oh, baby, don't worry about that. We're going to get around the prenup. The prenup has no teeth. That's what divorce attorneys are telling your wife. Why do you think she took your ass to divorce court in the first place?
marriage outside of a state because it's a religious institution anyway. You never have to have a license with the state. It's never been necessary. And if you do, the only way that that can be done is if it's sacramental. And if it's sacramental, it's governed now by the church. That's going to be the community the women are a part of. And so the thing is like, that sounds like a real viable solution. What's yours? More fucking degeneracy? Go out and play the field, hump a lot of chicks? How's that going to help anybody do anything? That's been the progressive mantra for 100 years. Isn't it wonderful? Your turn.
All right, we're returning back to Earth. Now, first things first, when it comes to this, back in reality, there's no God in marriage. So, Mr. Sky Daddy, God, religion, that's all great, but there's no God in marriage.
Exactly. It sounds good. It sounds good. I guarantee every man who gets divorced was in a relationship with a woman who said, I don't believe in divorce. Let me repeat. Every man, because no woman believes in divorce until she actually gets divorced. Every man has an idealistic viewpoint when women say, I don't believe in divorce until they actually get divorced. Then they're like, oh, I thought you didn't believe in divorce. And they're like, psych, nigga, everybody believes in divorce. Things run their course. People grow apart. These are the excuses that they make. They cite emotional intelligence. Oh, he wasn't emotional intelligent enough. He didn't earn enough money. He wasn't providing. Things got hard financially. He lost his job. I just saw a tweet the other day. A man lost his job and then the woman opened up the relationship. She said, we're going to be in an open relationship until you get employment because you can't provide for me no more. She did this the day after the man lost his job.
At this particular point, when you go through a marriage, if one person decides to not obey the Holy Bible or whatever you're thumping, you have no basis to keep that marriage together. If she decides to leave the church and decides not to listen or excommunicate herself, she's now under the state.
Agree.
Now, when you're getting divorced, which I'm assuming you've been divorced.
Well, I mean, that's a hell of an assumption to make.
Oh, he doesn't want to answer that. Here's the thing. Andrew Wilson may not have gotten divorced before. I don't think Andrew Wilson's got divorced, but guess who got divorced? His current wife, and I'm not trying to take shots at her, but his current wife, who he married, is a divorcee. Boom. The woman that he married is divorced. So, bro, and we know the percentage of failed marriages. So let's talk about that. What percentage? And I guarantee the wife you have now, she was Christian when she divorced her first husband. Okay, so we're going to say what percentage of divorced women remarry successfully? All right. So approximately 64% of divorced women remarry, though this figure can base on age range. And then let's see. So there's a higher risk for second marriages. The divorce rate for second marriages is significantly higher than for the first marriage, around 60 to 70%. So literally, the divorce rate the Andrew Wilson is playing a very dangerous game here. He is married to a woman who's been divorced, and the percentage of that failing is 60 to 70%. There is more of a chance that his marriage today fails than there is it being successful, no matter what religious, ecclesiastical, Catholic garb that he thinks that he's going to operate under. It doesn't matter. The data doesn't lie. His wife is more likely to divorce him because this is her second marriage. So Andrew Wilson has put himself in a precarious situation because he is marrying a woman who has already been divorced.
Have you been divorced?
Well, I mean,
have you been married?
Can you tell me, if you can tell me how that has any merit?
Give me
to
a
the
second,
debate.
because if you've been through one, you would know that there's no God in the divorce court, in the
I
family
see.
court. There's no God in there. No one asked you.
There is the state in there.
There is the state. So that's what we're arguing from.
Yeah,
That's when you get married. So you're telling me if, and I'm telling you, well, this is what's going to happen. Even if you took Sky Daddy into court with you, they would say, you pray to the judge.
How-
The judge is the authority in the court. So the God argument is a nice, interesting argument. And I probably am not going to stay on the conversation very long, because that's your God. That's your Sky Daddy. That's your religion. I have a different religion. So who
What does that
gives you
do with
the...
anything?
Oh, wow. So they're saying Andrew Wilson's been divorced and his current wife is divorced. So let's look at the percentage of if two divorced people remarry, what's the percentage of that marriage failing? So, so if they're both married, the divorce rate increases to 75%. So if they both were divorced, the divorce rate increases to 75%. So Andrew Wilson and his wife have a 75% chance of not working out. Not saying that it won't, not wishing anything bad on them. But bro, those are dangerous odds you're dealing with, and it doesn't matter what religious, garb that you are under, or what, faith that you follow. It doesn't matter. The data doesn't lie. You're two people who have failed in marriage once, and the likelihood that you will fail again.
Who gives you the authority to change the understanding, the conversation to your religion? That's your religion.
I'm not changing the conversation.
Okay,
anything.
so it only
We're
works
talking
if
about,
it only works if you believe in your Sky Daddy. That's the only way it works, and that's the only way you're going to advise men.
We're talking about mitigating risk.
No. We're talking about, can men get into a marriage today only under your Sky Daddy? That's what we're assuming.
Okay.
Now, can they do it otherwise?
Yeah, you can have secular marriage.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay, yeah.
Make it work.
I just did. So
Make it work.
The argument that you have is that marriage is great. It's a great institution.
We already covered this.
Well, what made it great?
We already covered
What
this.
made it great?
Can we go into why it would make it work for your secular? That's the question I ask you. You're asking me questions back. Go ahead and answer the question.
So if you're talking about secular marriage, there's never been any point to it.
I'm sorry?
There's never been any point to secular marriage, ever. Never. What would ever be the point of secular marriage? It's always been a religious institution. That's what made it great. Now, when you say it's a great institution, what made it great for secularists, other than the fact that Sky Daddy and God had all these enforcement arms, and those things had to be enforced socially? Like, for instance, men weren't allowed to run away. And women, right, they had to show cause for these divorces. And they had to be good causes. They had to show it for things like infidelity, right? It was all biblically governed. It was all lawfully governed by this Sky Daddy guy you like so little. But that's what made the institution great in the first place. And what you're talking about here, you're making a point that divorce is bad. And yet, I agree, divorce is bad. So what we're really talking about is, how do we mitigate the risk for divorce? And we have two different methods here.
Well, the conversation is marriage good for men. That's the conversation.
But it is. We already said it's good for men. That's not even in dispute.
And now, how do we make it better, since they're avoiding it? Since men or women are avoiding it.
It sounds like the thing that you think makes it bad is divorce, not marriage.
Correct.
Then we need to mitigate divorce.
We're 15 minutes in, and we are in the land of reality. You finally caught up. Can you tell
been
me
there the whole
how
time.
we can get to the secular marriage? I mean, I've given you a
Yeah,
chance.
so-
You're dragging your
So
feet.
again, secular. There's never been any point to secular marriage ever.
Now, listen, marriage is for child creation. It would be great for child community
it's
and
not
all
just
of
for
these
that.
things. And now, listen, by the time the religious aspects got into marriage, they were chopping people's heads off and burning Bibles. So, listen, I know we want to take it back to the past and act like the past was better.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why the institution of marriage worked back then is because it was reinforced by force. Let's keep it a buck. You were able to slap the shit out of your wife back then. I'm not advocating for this. I'm not saying that you should be able to. I'm not saying that was right. I'm just saying there was force behind what kept women with their husbands. But now freedom is a different thing. And when women have freedom, they choose to walk if the situation doesn't suit them anymore.
But there's always a negative part of the past. If you go back and you look at the English, this has all been there. People were getting their heads chopped off. The Crusaders were doing their things across countries, and they were spreading Christianity through threats and
what does that have
violence.
to do with anything?
Now, that's what you're trying to uplift. That's what you're trying to uphold.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
You wouldn't know what I'm talking
Well,
about.
I mean, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to appeal to the old guard of religion and how it was able to sustain societies. It was done by force. It was done at the butt of a gun. That's why it was able to continue to be sustained, because it's like, okay, you know, you cheat on your husband, you're a witch. Salem witch trials. Somebody, you know, the local whore fucked your husband. The wife gonna accuse that bitch, the whore, of being a witch. She's burned at the stake. It was force that kept women in line. There is no force anymore. There is freedom, and there is quote unquote equal opportunity, which really isn't equal opportunity. We all understand that the justice system, society in general, is going to end up favoring women at the end of the day. But once they have choice, now you can't get them to submit to your religious viewpoint, because they have choice now and they're choosing to walk away from that.
But that's where you're lacking.
I have no
so
idea.
Catch up. You're sitting in the
What
cross
does the
from me. I
Crusades
want you
have
to
to do with divorce?
That was when your holy marriage was the best marriage that you're trying to go to. Now listen,
In the
if we're trying to drag it back-
1950s? Were we crusading in
No,
the
no, no.
1950s?
No, 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 no. You
What the hell?
Again, 1950s was basis. The 1950s marriage rates, again, based off of force. I mean, do we want to go back and talk to those women and the ones who actually were in those relationships? A lot of them were forced to stay. A lot of them did suffer abuse. I'm not saying that all of them did. I'm not even saying the majority of them did, but it was more socially acceptable to, put hands on her if she's acting up. It was reinforced by force. But once they got the freedom, no fault divorce, there were laws that stopped them from going because it wouldn't benefit them. They have the freedom and they have the incentive now.
What are you talking about?
You talked about the institution of marriage for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Sir, do you need me to catch you up on what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
but
You're having trouble
you know what
keeping up
marriage-
with me.
do you know what
You're
marriage was
having
like
trouble
50 years
keeping up
ago?
with me. You said
I am.
2,000 years ago.
Truly,
and
your
I told
intellect
you
is
2,000
dizzying.
years ago, they were chopping people's heads off.
Which has what to do with
I
anything?
need you to catch up with me, sir.
Okay.
If you want to take things back to the past, you have to accept everything as the past. You can't just cherry pick. Now, here's the thing. You're cherry picking. If you want to take things back to tradition, take it all the way back. Why stop at the 50s? Take it back.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about 1950s, a lot of women were left as widows because their men were sent off to war. Right? And guess what those women did? They just remarried. And guess what the divorce rates did for those marriages? It increased the likelihood of divorce on the second marriage. I mean, come on.
Back to the 1890s.
What you're saying right now is so incoherent. I actually don't even understand
Well,
it.
that's what, listen, when you're
It's
when you're running out of bullets,
incoherent.
when you're running out of bullets,
Well, it's
the
just
last thing you do
incoherent.
is the shame. All right,
I'm
listen,
not even trying to
are
shame you. It's
struggling?
just incoherent.
I need you to catch up with me.
Okay, catch me up.
Just say you're lacking if you can't keep it up.
It's
all right,
an
now here's the
incoherent-
problem.
it's incoherent.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
I don't know what to tell you.
Here's the problem you're having.
2,000 years ago, they were chopping heads off. Who gives a shit?
Listen,
what does that have
you
to do with
said
anything?
2,000 years ago. I'm coming up with yours. You're wholly religious. 2,000 years ago, it's been a part of
What
the
does that
institution.
have to do with this?
Exactly. Here's the problem. You're cherry picking.
I don't see why Andrew Wilson is acting like he's confused as to what Coach Greg is talking about. Andrew Wilson, you tried to appeal to the authority of religion, and Coach Greg Adams is telling you why the religious angle worked back then. Okay? The religious angle worked back then for a reason. It worked because women were forced, but now in today's day and age, they have the choice, they have the freedom, meaning they don't have to abide by those religious standards or societal norms anymore. They have the choice to be in situationships over long-term relationships. They have the choice to sleep around if they want to sleep around. Okay? It's that simple.
What?
Listen,
I'm listening.
I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to
Slow
slow
me
you
way
down
down.
because I see what you're doing here. I'm going to slow you down.
Okay.
Because it's hard for you to keep up.
It is. You're
I
right.
understand.
I
I
am-
understand because you
I
haven't
am
been across. This is your
bedazzled.
toughest debate. Your audience knows this.
Oh, it's rough.
There's no God in marriage
Okay.
in the United States.
Yeah.
Can we agree to that? When you get to divorce, there's no God in
we
marriage.
can't agree to that.
We need to agree to it because when you go into divorce court,
Yeah.
there's no God.
Yeah,
you
but
can't bring in your
I
God
thought-
and your Bible. And at that particular point, none of your ecclesiastics marriage works.
Okay.
Period.
So the thing is, you just said, can we agree that there's no God in marriage? And then
You don't have to agree.
But hang on, calm down. And then you switched over to divorce. There's no God in divorce. But those are two different questions and proposition. Hang on, relax. The second thing is that me saying that what made marriage a great institution is this whole Sky Daddy character, and that the institution has been in place for 2,000 years, and it's
you
been.
go,
Hang
2,000
on,
years.
calm down.
2,000
And it's
years.
been a strong institution.
Again, so he said he didn't understand why Coach Greg Adams was going back 2,000 years, and now he is going back 2,000 years. What the hell, Andrew? And this is how, a lot of these dudes, and, they kind of hit on the race conversation. Let's just be honest. A lot of these dudes just think they're so much smarter than us. Let's just keep it a buck. But they're the ones who are getting led to the slaughter in marriage course. They're the ones who are getting led to. Black men done woke up to the child support shit. Black men have woken up to the child support shit. Hood niggas don't get put on child support. The good, hard-working black men get put on child support. So we just decided, hey, we ain't finna have no kids with you. We ain't finna have no kids. That ain't my problem. We ain't finna have no kids with you. Okay? Black men have woken up to that. We were the ones. Like, we didn't prescribe it as the red pill, but we was the ones who was on that red pill shit before anybody got on it. But because of his pride, he doesn't want to understand. He doesn't want to understand. Because of his pride, he doesn't want to understand where Coach Greg Adams is coming from.
I'm not actually sure how tying in that at the time they cut people's heads off, what that has to do with the fact that in the 1950s and 40s, you still had 95% of these marriages staying together. This is not ancient history. This is not even early American history. That's in your grandfather's lifetime, basically. And this, by the way, that was the case for black marriages as well. Very strong institutions. But all of those institutions were that way because they followed that whole Sky Daddy thing. Correct. They were like, oh, that Sky Daddy's going to smite us if we don't. And so what you do here is you're giving the classic progressive argument, which is, well, guys, it is true that it's a great institution, and it is true it's the best place in the world to have children for the continuation of the species. And also, it's fantastic for men's health. It's fantastic for their mental health. It's great for them in almost every way. But that divorce thing is real bad. And I counter. You're right. That divorce thing is real bad. We have now a center of agreement. But now we're going back to the marriage in the West thing, which is that whole great institution problem. Well, if we agree that what made it good, which you just did, is, hey, that Sky Daddy guy, and then I point out that right now you can still utilize that Sky Daddy guy for an ecclesiastical.
Okay, but again, Andrew, what you're not understanding, men, yes, we're going to follow the religion. Okay, fine. Now ask women to do that and see what they say. The Bible tells them dress modestly. Ask them to do that on Halloween. And okay, the Bible says, okay, conserve yourself till marriage. Okay, cool. Ask modern women to do that. Crickets. It's not happening, bro. It's not happening. All of these religious structures that you're trying to implement on everybody, not everybody's following that. And mainly, it's going to be the modern women who are not going to follow that. Again, 84% of the women in New York voted for Mandami. They are not following the men, and they are not following what the men are saying is best for society, is best for the country, is best for whatever community that you're in, sir. He tried to go to the Amish, a statistical outlier. Sir, that is a red herring. That is what we call a straw man argument, sir.
School marriage outside of the state. Hang on. And the only thing you can do is say, what about common law? But you can't govern anybody from common law. And at least in the ecclesiastical institution, you have social pressures on women to stay married. You can't offer a man anything like that. Give me a single social pressure you can offer that would.
Again, that social pressure actually has to come from women. That social pressure from men towards women does not work. What are men saying? What's your body count? And what are women responding to that? If a man asks what your body count is, then just leave him on red. Don't respond. The social pressure from men is not working. It's called mansplaining now. The social pressure where a man tries to tell a woman what's best for a woman to do does not work. The social pressure is going to have to come from a woman, but it will not happen because the women have a hive mind and they're not going for that shit, brother. Again, you have Nala the Ninja, who was previously an OnlyFans porn star, who ended up speaking at a conservative, I don't know if it was a TPUSA event, but it was a conservative, woman's convention where all the conservative, they invited her into the circle, into the space, and said, oh, you're a reformed hoe with 100 body count. We accept you and we're not going to judge you. So, and now ask a man if he agrees with that. Of course not. The men don't agree with it unless they're going to benefit and end up getting laid from that. Okay? That's the reality.
Actually keep these marriages together. One. What? Just one.
Can I answer something
Yeah.
you just said? This would be interesting.
I can't wait.
You said,
but can you answer that question? Then
No,
ask?
Before.
Oh, of
the
course.
1940s.
Of course, you gotta ask me a question.
Because
before you
listen,
answer mine.
I'm listening to you. You asked the question at the end. If you would have asked it at the beginning, possibly I might have been able to address it. But let me address this point.
Okay.
You said the 1940s and 1950s with this imaginary sky daddy controlling marriages. That sounds like enforcement. Because by the time the
Doesn't it?
1970s came around, the very first chance women got to file a no.
Yep, when they when they got hormonal birth control and they got to file the no fault divorce, it was over. It was over, bro. When they have choice, they're not going to align with your beliefs, brother. This is what we're trying to tell you, but you have too much pride to realize that, and you think the audacity of you think that you can change a woman. You think that, oh, I'm masculine enough, I'm manly enough, my Christian authority and ecclesiastical authority will bind this woman and force her to abide by the biblical rules of submission to the husband, who then submits to the church, the body of Christ. Well, if the woman won't even submit to the husband, then the husband's submission to the church and the body of Christ is irrelevant to that woman. Boom. Let's just run that back. If the woman will not submit to the husband, the man's submission to Christ and the body of Christ, the church, is irrelevant because she is not going to submit to him. Therefore, his submission is irrelevant in her eyes. Now, that might be great for your own salvation, but it's not going to save your marriage.
Fault divorce without need for evidence without need to have a private investigator to prove an affair.
Was no
they
fault the
did.
70s?
Yes, it was the 70s, started by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I'll educate you.
But hang on.
Came along. Hold on for a second.
Uh-oh.
No.
Okay, go ahead and educate this nigga, man. Educate him.
I got the floor here.
Oh,
I got the floor.
he had to cut him off. He had to cut bro off.
So you said the religious institutions governed it and made it great. The 1970s came along, and as soon as they did,
Feminism.
women started to file divorces at record rates, which is back to my conversation.
Yep.
Soon as you remove the authority of Sky Daddy,
Yep.
now you're back with the state. And now you have difficulty, and now the risk is now greater.
Yes. My only critique is I wish that Coach Greg Adams would said once you give them choice, okay? Choice is the difference in that. Okay? The choice is the difference. Once you remove it's not even removing the Sky Daddy, because these women, they still believe in God, right? It's not like they just don't believe in God, but they believe that God is telling them to get divorced. This is what y'all don't understand. They believe that they are in an emotionally abusive relationship and God would not want them to be unhappy. Right or wrong? Ask a woman why she got divorced. Yeah, everything was fine, but I just wasn't happy anymore. And I don't believe that God would want me to be in a situation that makes me sad. I don't believe that God would want me to be in a situation where I'm waking up and I'm crying in the morning. I don't believe that God would want me to be in a situation where, my husband wants intercourse from me, but I'm not attracted to him anymore. This is what's going on. I don't believe that God would want me to be in a situation where I out-earn my man, because I believe in provider men. So I'm not happy and I'm going to go file for divorce. I mean, it's that simple, bro. Any justification is sufficient enough.
Oh,
So that's the issue that
then
you
it
have.
sounds like men should be moving towards Sky Daddy then, because it mitigates their risk.
The courts, the nation should be
There's
moving
no
towards
courts.
that. But how do you enforce that?
What court? What court?
your
You're
land is
not
in-
getting a marriage from the state. What courts are involved
Everything
here?
you told me is a make-believe scenario.
How? You can
You're
do it
telling-
right now. How is it make believe?
How do you do that when people,
Here's
the
what you
marriages
do.
do state?
Yeah.
I know you want to go
I'll
back
tell
to
you how.
Ecclesiastics. This
No,
is
I'm
going to be
telling
a
you, you
problem.
can do it right
Okay.
this second.
Okay,
You
can
can go
do it.
do it right now.
You can do it at this particular
can't
point.
do.
However,
What do you mean?
here's the problem.
Okay.
Can you get men to do it?
Yes.
Okay, you might be able to think you can get men to do it, but as soon as they do it, I want you to stick around for the average of 8 to 10 years when these men start getting divorced. See, what you're doing is you're leading.
We've
men,
been
hold on
watching
for a
it for
second.
longer.
You've been leading. You're going to lead men into a burning building.
Oh.
And the reason why, and this is a famous quote by Martin Luther King, is because the laws of integration didn't catch up fast enough for what he wanted for people to integrate. And what happened was it took him 12 to 15 years to realize that he led men or black people into a burning building in which integration was not possible at the time.
Okay.
You are also proposing the same thing. And I would like for you to
How?
stick around to see the results of what you're proposing, because eventually you would have to pay the price.
I
How did
see.
Martin Luther King pay the price? You would have to pay the price for the men that you misled.
So Martin Luther misled men, and that's why he was killed?
I said he misled black people. You missed that part.
Those
He said,
were-
okay, let me repeat it, because
Yeah.
you're slow.
I
All right,
am,
you
you're
definitely
right.
are slow, Neanderthal.
That's for sure.
Let me tell you something.
I'm dragging
Martin
knuckles
Luther
over here.
King said specifically,
Yeah.
related to black people and civil rights,
Yeah.
I'll speak slowly for you,
Yeah.
that he believed at the end, he led them into a burning building. I'm going to speak slower. The
Okay.
reason why is because the laws of integration
Yeah.
did not catch up with what he would like to present. Black people weren't ready to integrate. As a result, he said, I may have led my people, that means his people, into a burning building.
Okay.
I would like for you, under your scenario, if your movement takes off,
Yeah.
to see the results, because it took Martin Luther King 12, 15 years to see the
Okay.
results
I understand
of
now.
his efforts.
Yeah.
You're proposing something very extreme that majority of people aren't going to do. But let's just say if, because you like to hide in the clouds of make-believe, if
They did.
this works,
Right.
I would love to see you represent these men in a divorce when they get their head bit off by these so-called women that are forced by Sky Daddy to stay in these marriages.
This is really like, I don't even understand how
you don't understand. I know you have a hard time understanding.
I do. I don't actually even understand how to respond to a lot of this because it's so incoherent. But I'm going to try anyway.
Oh yeah, see, this is.
So let's start.
This is his always incoherent when he understands.
Wow.
Perhaps you don't understand. That might be what it is.
It's incoherent. I mean, I personally didn't like the civil rights analogy. All you have to do is say when women have choice, they choose not to be on the same time as what you're prescribing. When they have choice, they're choosing not to go that religious route of, oh, we don't believe in divorce and by any means necessary, we were going to keep this marriage together. No, that's not what modern women believe. They believe if they're not happy, they should be able to leave the marriage.
And it's okay to say you don't understand, and I can speak slowly for you.
I don't understand now, but I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why.
Dismissive. I mean, you know.
I'm going to tell you why.
It's okay. When you're losing, just say you're losing, and I can speak for you.
Let me know when I can talk and you gas out. Go ahead. Okay.
Go ahead.
So here's
typical tactic, but you can work that against these OnlyFans girls. Hey, listen, you can work that tactic against those OnlyFans girls that you debate, debating 23-year-old ignorant women.
They're smarter than you.
But now they're sitting across from a person.
They're smarter than him. Okay, Andrew, please explain how you're going to enforce y'all. Y'all can't even get these conservative trad wife women to stop posting bikini pics, to stop posting ass pics, to stop. Literally, there was a debate and they're saying, oh, well, bikini pics are okay. It's okay to post bikini pics. A bikini isn't naked. Y'all can't even get y'all bitch to stop posting bikini pics, bro. Like, come on, dude. What are you talking about?
Always smarter than you.
Yeah, you're sitting across from a person here.
Oh, no.
That's looking at a Neanderthal, say you don't understand something very simple.
Let me know when he gas out.
This
so
is
I
the
can
simplest thing that you can understand.
Okay.
Your go. Your go.
Are you sure?
Please.
I can actually do it this time?
Please, put me to sleep. Please.
Okay, so
put me to sleep.
Here's why it's incoherent, and there's a bunch of this I don't understand. You keep on saying that these men are going to get divorced, and yet I'm proposing non-state marriages. How are they going to get divorced? Well, you can only say then via common law. But again, you have no defense yourself against
these are if scenarios.
I don't.
I mean, come on,
I don't.
Man. You said I was going to debate somebody that's going to come.
Why do you keep filibustering?
Scenario.
Give
me a real scenario.
I let you speak the entire time.
Give me something to speak about.
Okay.
You're giving me
I'm not
an
asking
scenario.
you to speak.
You're trying to invite me to your church.
I'm
not going to your
you
church.
To
Please
listen.
give me a real scenario.
You have to shut up long enough for me to
Come
do
on,
it.
please. I've been here 30 minutes waiting for you to do it.
All right.
Give me a real scenario.
Okay. So what I don't understand here, again, and I'm going to ask again, in your incoherent worldview,
okay, please.
You keep on saying that these men who I propose this to are going to get divorced. But I'm not proposing that they get married through the state. The state's the one who does the divorces. So the only thing you could say is that there's a potential for common law here. But that's something you yourself cannot guard them from by your own admission. The second problem that we have here is that I don't have to stick around for 10 or 15 years because we can look at the numbers right now in religious marriage for what this looks like. And here's what this looks like. If you're a Catholic, you're way less likely to get divorced. And if you're Orthodox, even less likely to get divorced. And it's because of that ecclesiastical structure. You're not ever going to be able to prevent all risk from divorce, not under anything.
Thank you, God. That's the most realistic thing you've said all day.
But not under any system is that going to be the case.
But why are Catholics getting divorced? How do they get divorced?
They get annulments. They don't even get divorces.
Okay,
and it's a really long process, and it's rare.
But you can't get an annulment unless, like, the marriage is very... You're not going to be granted an annulment unless the marriage doesn't last long. So he's basically, they get an annulment. Dude, you get an annulment when you've been married for 1 year and you can't work it out. You don't get an annulment after 5 years when the average divorce happens. Okay? Like, and then I mean, it's just absolutely crazy.
Have a similar divorce rate than the secular.
No.
So they have a very close. So how do they get divorced?
I'm going to
How
explain.
do Christians get divorced?
I'll answer your question.
Please tell me, because I know how to get divorced.
So
right into the divorce court.
Yeah, I know. So because they call it a state marriage.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm proposing that they don't do that. Right.
Okay. A land of make believe.
How is that a mail-in?
Bro, for one, when you marry someone's daughter, brother, proposing a non-state marriage is not gonna fly. I don't care how religious they are. Proposing a non-state marriage is just not going to work. The family's going to be on your ass. They're going to, push you to do an actual legal marriage. They're going to want a marriage certificate. They're going to want the documentation. They're going to want all that, bro. You're not going to be able to get this off, bro. Only a minority of people with high level game is going to be able to convince a woman to get in a non-binding marriage that is not government sanctioned. And you can't even get your women to vote for the right candidate that you want them to vote for. So how the hell do you think the average man is going to be able to convince his woman to, get married under those circumstances? I mean, women won't even accept your marriage if the diamond ring isn't $25,000 or something like that. I saw a video on X where a woman was getting street interviewed, and then he asked her, okay, how much does the ring have to cost? And she was like, oh, at least 100,000 or something like that. She said some crazy number. Dude, how are you going to get a woman to accept your marriage proposal if you're not coming with not only the financial aspect, but also the reinforcing, reassuring, legal financial? Because what do women always say? I just want to feel safe. They're not going to feel safe in a non-government sanctioned marriage without a marriage certificate, bro. It's common sense. But you think that you're spitting. You think, oh, well, I'm proposing that they don't go through the state. Well, nigga, if every man did that, then we wouldn't have any marriage statistics. There wouldn't be any marriage data to go off of because it's not being monitored by the states. And then it's just self-reported, and people aren't going to report because they're going to think it's an official means of reporting their marriage. And then they're going to be bound up in some legal situation because they reported their marriage, even in a freaking survey. Because the divorce court is going to look at that and say, well, I mean, you're on tax documents, you're saying you're married. On tax documents, you're saying you're married. On these documents, you're saying you're married. So you considered yourself in a marriage. So we're just going to, assume you're in a common law marriage.
Make believe you can go fucking do it right now.
Please tell me what
are you talking about?
What percentage of people do this particular thing that you're doing, that you're proposing?
Why would that matter? Let's say it's one person. Why would that matter?
It's one person. So you're taking a very small chance. You're arguing against me that has millions of people on my side
getting divorced, and you don't want
but you're telling me a small 20 people in a little house on the prairie,
right?
That you govern people without electricity and you riding horse and carriages,
right?
You're telling me this small percentage of people are going to lead a movement of doing something you're proposing here on YouTube. This is going. How many people are doing this?
Okay, why would that matter?
It would matter because then we can use some data to determine.
He's literally saying, why does it matter that it's a small percentage of people? Because if you want to curb the divorce rates, it has to be a majority of people that sign up for your program, and nobody wants to sign up for that janky ass shit. Nobody wants to sign up for that, especially women. Like, come on, dude, you're being disingenuous at best.
Do these people end up in divorce?
Well, we can
more
do it.
than likely.
This is great because we can look at the data. So let's look at.
Please.
Do you want to look at the Catholic data and Orthodox data for marriage?
We're talking about your ecclesiastic proposal.
That's what we're talking about.
This
is the ecclesiastical proposal.
If we're using Catholic and Christians, their divorce rate tends to be very close.
I'll look it up.
It's very close. Let's
not
go
Catholic.
Look it up. Hold on.
Self-ID'd Christians. Self-ID'd Christians.
Okay.
Self-ID.
Self-identifying Christians. Lord have mercy, dude. That's anybody. Everybody. Come on, dude. You're trying to now. He wants to change it from Catholics to self-identifying Christian. I thought you were talking about Orthodox and just Catholics. Now you're talking about self-identifying Christian. That's going to encompass a lot more people than just Catholics.
Just put Christians.
He's like Christian and Catholic.
You have to tell me what a Christian is.
He likes to dice up all of these people.
And
listen.
Dude, there's so many different denominations. We don't even know what the hell a Christian is anymore. So you just have to go by Christian in general. You can't say self-identifying Christian, apostolic, faith of ecclesiastical Catholic, non-denominational. What the yo?
Love to go to your church one day. I would be a wonderful guest, and I would love to thump the Bible, and I would love to say a prayer with you. However, this conversation is entering into
Can we pull up my screen?
Very much a Sky Daddy conversation, which
we got it.
It's about belief.
Who brought up Sky Daddy? You.
You
we
brought it up about
we got
the
the divorce rates
ecclesiastic
pulled up right
marriage.
here.
That's not.
You brought that up.
What is that?
So that is a religious
If
argument.
you're an
which more
atheist, you
people
should
in
be
a
able to
religion-
Bro,
Okay, listen,
contend with that,
A lot of
dude.
people would not want to do that. You're telling me a small percentage
Who
of people are going to
cares?
do this.
We're talking about mitigating the rates of divorce. It
now,
doesn't matter how many
Can
do
we
it.
move forward from this one? We agree.
We're talking about mitigating.
Okay, bro. So they're breaking it down in so many different categories. They're going Catholic,
The rates.
mainline Protestant, evangelical Protestant, non-religious, unaffiliated, national average. Bro, like, come on. There's so many different categories for what a Christian is. If you add all these statistics up, it goes to the 50% mark.
Of divorce. It
now,
doesn't matter how many
Can
do
we
it.
move forward from this one? We agree to disagree.
No, we
Can
don't
mo-
agree to disagree.
Okay,
I
so
need
you want to
counter
keep it here in your
arguments.
land of make
I want
make-believe.
counter
No, I'm
arguments.
not going to argue in your land of make believe.
Yeah,
in the
because you
clouds.
can't.
Because
You have no counter
it's
arguments.
ridiculous. It's
You don't have
ridiculous.
one counter argument.
Here's a counter argument.
Okay, what is it?
There's no God in marriage. How many times do I have to say that?
That's an
If you
assertion.
end
It's
up-
not an argument.
If you end up in divorce court, God doesn't matter. None of this matters. That's real. That's the realest argument that you can possibly hear. Soon as she
How do
goes-
you end
hold on
up
for
in a
second, hold on.
divorce court without the state?
Hold on for a second. Hold on
How?
for a second. Hold on for a second. I'm going to tell you how.
Okay.
In the 1940s, which you so love, I don't know why you don't live there. You look like you live there. You're dressed like you live there.
They
Here's
wore
the problem.
hoodies and
Hold on
jeans
for a
in the
second.
40s,
Hold
did they?
hold on for a second. Here's the problem.
Okay.
These people, under your authoritative, godly marriage,
Yeah.
still got divorced at high rates.
No, they
Once
didn't.
no fault divorce showed up, it started at 25%. Then by the time you get here, it's close to 40 and 50%. It's still prevalent. I'm giving you the reality
That's
here.
not the
You're
reality.
trying to drag me back over here to the little house on the prairie. It's not working. It's not going to work with me. How about this?
How about a counter
If traditional,
argument?
if
Can I get one
traditional
of
marriage,
those?
I gave you one.
What?
I mean, come on, man.
What is the
Come on,
counter
man.
argument? Come
Listen,
on, man. It's not a
listen,
counter
listen.
argument. What's the counter argument?
There's no God in marriage, and divorce
an
court,
assertion, not
there's
an
no
argument.
God in divorce court.
God's not an
I assert
argument.
that there's no
Okay, well,
God
there
in
is a
divorce
God
court.
in divorce court. Argument defeated.
Exactly.
Argument
Yeah.
defeated.
Oh my goodness,
It's
boy!
so
All right, do you
silly.
need your sandbox outside? Did you miss your toys?
It's just
Did you not get a
ridiculous.
nap?
Like,
Here's a
I
problem.
want an argument,
This is
dude.
the absolute argument.
Okay.
You're trying to drag me to church. I'm taking you outside of church. You can't combat it because you want to battle inside the church. I'm not letting you. So let's get back to the
I
state.
don't care if secularists get married.
Let's get back to the state.
Bro, I mean, you have to care. If you want the divorce rates in general to go down, for one, you have to, what he's prescribing is you have to convert everyone to your religion, and then the divorce rates will go down. That's what he's prescribing. Coach Greg Adams is saying, well, most people aren't going to, even if they claim that they're religious, they're still not abiding by a religious doctrine. Do you know how many girls who say they're religious, but they're still not living by the religious doctrine that their faith presents? And it's not just Christian women, it's Muslim, it's everything.
What do you mean?
And that divorce rate, did you find out the numbers?
Yeah, I pulled it
Once
up.
they have freedom, they're going to choose whatever they want. I mean, essentially.
Up earlier, but I'll pull it up again. It's up on the screen. Can you guys see this? Catholic, 19 to 25%. Mainline Protestant, 30 to 35%.
So add all that up. Catholic, 25%. Mainline Protestant, 35%. Evangelical Protestant, 33%. Non-religious, unaffiliated, 40%. I mean, it's not that much different. And then when you add it all up between these religious groups, it ends up rounding up to rounding to about 30 to 40% anyway.
Evangelical, 26 to 33.
That's up there.
Now, pull up
That's up there.
Orthodox.
40,
Orthodox.
33, 34, 30. That's pretty high.
Orthodox divorce rate. Let's see.
17 to 20.
I see average 33%.
That's US.
US
That's
average.
evangelical
adults.
Protestants. That's with the
It says
coalition of
Orthodox
all
adults
of them.
ever divorced 17 to 20. US
Yes.
adult average 33%.
Yes, so they're much lower.
It says in the US 33%. The
They're
Orthodox every divorce, that's worldwide.
Yeah, they're much lower rates.
Okay, but
Yep. So look, according to Pew Research Center 2014 religious landscape study, Orthodox Christian adults ever divorced. So that's yeah, okay, so that's everything 17 to 20%. The US average of all adults under this Orthodox Christian religious landscape is 33%. I mean, it's still high, bro. Evangelical Protestants 26 to 33%, unaffiliated 37 to 47 to 40%. That's still high, bro.
every divorce, that's worldwide.
Yeah, they're much lower rates.
Okay, but you're saying that they can't get divorced. That's what you said.
No, bro.
You said, is that what you said?
The whole point
said
here
they
is
can't
how
get
do we
divorced because you're
mitigate the
enforcing
risk
them.
of divorce? You can't ever completely mitigate
30%.
it. It can't ever be completely mitigated, but you can mitigate the risk of divorce.
Okay, great.
It is lower. They're
Much
saying
it's
lower,
lower.
much lower.
Okay, all right. So a chance of getting hit 30% versus 44%. This
And then not everybody's going to be Orthodox. In the Catholic Church, they're divorcing at the same rates as everybody else on average. So
doesn't defeat the argument.
you
Those
can't convert everybody to your denomination religion.
It does defeat
divorces,
the argument.
those divorces happen in the court of law because no divorce cannot be
right.
reported in
So this
that's
is
not in
great.
the court of law.
Actually,
so what is the divorce
yeah.
that happens outside of the court of law? If it's 33%
Mm-hmm.
in the court of law with your Orthodox ecclesiastic marriage, what is it outside?
Even
what is
lower.
it within that?
It's even lower.
Okay, so add that 10%.
yes.
now we're at 40%.
No, you wouldn't add
whatever.
that. You wouldn't add 10%.
That's the legal
What are you
divorce.
talking
Hold on for a
about?
second. When you say a divorce, those are reported divorces legally. That means these people filed in the legal reported system. That's 30+%. Okay. You said there would be more that were outside of the door.
No, less.
Outside of the state.
Less.
No, hold on for a second.
Less.
Yeah, see what Andrew Wilson's not understanding is, okay, with that data, you got, what did they say, 1925 Orthodox, and then in Catholic, it's like 33%. With that data, you have to say, okay, so these are the people who are under the government system, who actually submitted to the legal union. What about the people who didn't, and then they still got divorced? So not only are I would argue that the people who are under the legal system have they're least likely to get divorced because there's more consequence with legal fees on both sides, even if the woman ends up winning. Whereas there's less stress if you are not under the umbrella of the legal system. There's less stress and less pressure to separate. Are y'all not understanding this? So the divorce rates outside of that legal system would actually be higher because if you're under the legal umbrella, yes, divorce is incentivized to women, but it's still more stressful than ending in a divorce that isn't under the level or that isn't under the umbrella of the legal system. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? So essentially, the argument is that under this religious system, divorce is going to be low. And then if you don't get married under the state, it's going to be lower. That's what Andrew Wilson is saying. But I counter, and Coach Greg Adams counters that, no, you're actually wrong. Under the legal system, these are the legally reported marriages that end in divorce is 33%. The people who actually don't report it to the government and are actually not, quote unquote, legally married have a higher likelihood of separating because there is less of a barrier to entry and less of a barrier to exit when you're not under the legal system.
There's additional outside of the marriage, outside of the state. Oh, there's none?
Well,
so you're saying there's zero?
Not really.
What are you saying?
Wow.
Okay, so let me explain.
Please.
So that you understand.
He's trying to say that people who are married religiously outside of the state, outside of the government, have a higher likelihood of staying together, which is absolutely not true. That's just like being boyfriend and girlfriend, bro.
Legally, and a lot of men have experienced.
Yeah, you can do it right this second.
Okay.
You understand. You keep on saying that these men are going to
18 to 20 U.S.
got me on that one.
Listen.
Saying something so I can say something
at this particular point. Listen,
okay.
What are you saying?
Okay, so let me explain.
Please.
So that you understand.
Additional to the 33%.
Yeah, but you have to, can you at least let me finish this time?
Please do it because you're slow.
So if it's the case if it's the case you're in an ecclesiastical marriage, you're still adding usually the state. These people are all adding the state, okay? The Catholics themselves, if you were to look at their annulments rate from the ecclesiastical authority, it's actually much lower than even the percentage that you're getting from the state because they add the state in, which means some people will ignore the ecclesiastical authority and get divorced anyway.
That's exactly what I've been telling you. The entire
Nobody
time. And
ever
then what?
argued that.
Exactly. But so
We're
how do
arguing
you
about
mitigate? You're saying
mitigating the risk. Mitigating
Seems
the
like there's
risk.
still a risk.
Andrew Wilson's trying to muddy the waters of the argument by running around the fact that Coach Greg Adams is right because he doesn't want to concede a point, because he doesn't want to quote unquote lose this argument. So he's doing, the gaslighting and making it seem like, oh, I can't understand what you're saying because you're so stupid, you're so low IQ, you're not making a point. No, Coach Greg Adams is making a point. You're not understanding what he's getting because he's listening with his pride.
No, it would mitigate the risk.
So the risk is slightly lower.
Much lower.
No, the risk is higher when you take it outside of the legal realms. That's a fact.
Okay, that's not that much lower.
It's
the
much
divorce
lower.
Rate is 40%. You're talking about 33% to 43%.
No, we're not. We're talking about 20% to 35 to
Under 20% under Orthodox. That's worldwide, but that's not in the United States, okay, which is where we're at. And then you got 33% that are Catholic, and then if you add up also the ones who don't go through the legal system, the ones who don't go through the state, and add those into the statistics, which aren't going to be reported because it's not going to be actually classified as a legal marriage under the Census Bureau, then you're looking at even higher divorce rates.
40%.
Okay, so that's lower.
Yes.
Okay, that's all you got. Now, here's
That's
the
all I
problem.
need.
That's not all you need because there's still risk. How do you say
Nobody said there wouldn't be risk.
Exactly.
You
So
can't
at this
mitigate
particular
risk
point-
for anything 100%. It's not possible.
Exactly. So now why are we telling men to get married?
Because you have to, because everything is a cost benefit analysis. Your issue is not marriage. Your issue is with mitigating
At
the risk.
this point, it's not marriage.
It's
This is the only.
mitigating-
Hold on for a second. Can I say this?
Oh my God. Can you
hold
ever
on for a
stop
second.
saying something so I
Come
can
on,
say
listen.
something?
At this particular point, listen,
Okay, I'm
You're
listening.
telling me from this point, we haven't even got to the entire marriage because you're still over in the land of make-believe. We haven't even got to the other issues
What's
of marriage.
make-believe?
Hold on for a second. We still haven't got to the other issues of marriage.
I'm willing to
so
get to
you're
everything.
telling me about the mitigation risk, and we've wasted too much time on it. Can we talk about the other issues of marriage?
Well,
which
okay.
are sexless marriage.
Can we at least wrap this up?
Yeah,
real
let
quick?
Andrew finalize this, and then
Yeah,
we'll move on to
so
that.
the thing is like, the problem is you said it was a great institution. If you say it's a great institution, even when it was a great institution, people were still getting divorced. So if that's the case, what you're really after is just mitigating risk. And I'm giving you a perfect way to mitigate risk, right? And the fact of the matter is that it is becoming more and more popular to do it this way. Prenup plus ecclesiastical authority almost mitigates your risk entirely, except for common law, but you can pick the state to live in for that. And you, by your own logic, can't defer from common law either. You can't protect men from that. So the thing is like, you can't have it both ways. You can't agree marriage is good and the backbone for the West and you really like it and it's fucking great and it's a great institution, but also don't do it because it's make-believe that you can mitigate risk even though you can right this second. That's insane.
Listen,
All right, final
I'm
point.
listening.
final point. Let's get to the other risks that are associated with it. We got that.
That's
we
not a
tackled
final
that
point on this.
That is
Make the final point and then
listen,
go to
listen. I'm a grown man. I'm not 22-year-old OnlyFans. I'm going to say what I want to say. Listen to this. At this particular point,
You got
we're
me
moving
on that
forward.
one.
Listen, we're moving forward.
that. Okay, we're moving
At
forward.
this point, what are the other risks that we want to guard against? We got the divorce. You're going to put them on the ecclesiastic paperwork. Less people are doing that. Not a lot of people know how to do it.
Yeah, less people are doing that, and then that increases the likelihood of a divorce or an annulment because you're not under, it's going to be easier to break that thing up than it is a legal marriage.
He just got married. He didn't do it. All right. I can almost guarantee.
Probably not.
Exactly.
So what?
So now, less people are going to do this. Not a lot of people know that. Not a lot of men are going to
So it
prepare
sounds like we
themselves to
should
do
try to
that.
change that, huh?
Exactly. So that would be
I
a
agree.
very tough
We should
scenario,
try to
and
change it.
most likely it's not going to happen moving forward.
Okay.
There are other issues in marriage
Okay, let's
that
get to them.
typically, if depending on what authority you go under, are still a risk for men. Yes, it's great for the backbone, but a lot of men are in sexless marriages. A lot of women are in sexless
True.
marriages. The percentage of affairs in marriages are still a big issue. That
Yeah, and I'm gonna assume that Andrew and his wife now, who also is divorced, was in a sexless marriage. That's why they left their divorce, or that's why they left their marriages, because they both were probably in a sexless marriage. And honestly, the amount of shows that Andrew does, I'm not really quite sure how often him and Rachel are hooking up. I don't want to know. I'm not inquiring. I'm just saying.
can't be addressed.
Oh.
Those risks are going to be tough. And now you have an issue because now whoever's your authority has to mitigate that risk. Now all of a sudden they have to govern or socially pressure the women, and that's going to be difficult to do. 20%, 30% of sexless marriages, 20, 30% of people having affairs. This is not the intent of people who get married. So yes, we have the divorce. We set that aside. Now, what about within the marriage? How do you mitigate the risk for that? I'm assuming you're going to have the ecclesiastic come through the home and force the wives to fuck their husbands.
Oh, that's quite the straw man. But
I'm assuming.
I'll go ahead and answer. Actually, the ecclesiastical authority does mitigate against this, and here's my proofs. Proof one: if it is the case that you get married to a woman who's a virgin, but she's a virgin because
Oh my God. I know he didn't just say if you get married to a virgin. Impossible. Next. I don't care how conservative Christian, bro. Unless you meet her, I mean, and this is going to sound wild, but let's be honest. Unless you meet her at 15 or 16, brother, she's not going to be a virgin. I promise you. So for him to even go there, knowing there are no virgin women at the age of 18 anymore, bro, that's deadzo, that's donezo, unless you just want a full 100-pound bitch or something like that. Bro, that is not realistic at all in the slightest. If she's a virgin, all right, bro. All right. I wave the white flag because this is going nowhere. Assuming that the woman is going to be a virgin is absolutely insane.
she's a Christian. Hang on, let me get through the entirety of the argument before you start freaking out. If it is the case,
Virgins.
your chances of that marriage ending, very, very, very small, one. And
Wow.
two, they report that they have a happier sex life. This is actually the case with the decrease in body count, which generally comes with the more religious people, meaning.
Okay, now where is that? Bro, that's not happening in today's day and age. The women are more sexually experienced than the men. That's just a fact.
The more that you take your religion seriously, the more that you pray, the more that you engage in that whole ecclesiastical authority thing, the less likely it is you step out of your marriage, significantly less likely. The less likely it is that you end up in a sexless marriage. You know why? Because there's a reinforcement in Christianity that men and women are not allowed to deprive each other of that, of sex, when it comes to marriage. And you find that people who follow the traditional faith generally don't. And so, yes, the ecclesiastical authority preaches that from the pulpit. Sorry, lady, you got to fuck your husband. That's part of God's law.
No, they don't. No, they don't. I have never, ever in my life, been to a church, and I grew up in the church, never been to a church that told wives to have sex with their husbands. Ever. And I don't even know if I want to be there for that sermon, because I don't want some priest, telling anybody to fuck anybody. I mean, he should really just be telling everybody to be celibate at this point, right? But it's just like, bro, what are we talking about here? I've never heard a pastor preach to women that they should have sex with their husbands at will, whenever he wants. Never heard that ever in my life. I've never heard that. I've never seen a video of that sermon being preached, unless it's the cursing pastor. Y'all know the cussing preacher who was on YouTube? Now, he would say some shit like that, but I ain't never heard no traditional Catholic, Orthodox, or Baptist, Methodist, ecclesiastical. I've never heard a pastor preach a sermon on wives fucking their husband. Sorry, it doesn't happen. You're not getting that sermon from the pulpit, my friend.
Yeah. What do you got for him? Go out and just fuck everybody? What are you going to do to mitigate? By the way, you're at the mercy of the same criticism. You can't mitigate guys' girlfriends from fucking around on them any more than you could a person's.
Yeah, great point. Knockout for 4291. He says he didn't even marry a virgin, let alone women with no kids. Exactly.
wife. You
girlfriend.
can't mitigate them stepping out on them. You can't mitigate them treating them like
just a
shit.
girlfriend.
You can't do anything.
There's
At
no
least I
penalty.
have a mitigation here. You have nothing. You have nothing. Just liberal
Shout out to I Love Bread too. He says delusional.
degeneracy. Give me something. Something you could do that would give any sort, any kind of failsafe against this. One thing.
I don't know what communities you live in, but your church pastor is going to be very busy walking in all of these bedrooms, preventing divorce and enforcing women to sleep with their husbands. Now, the first leap
like you
of
didn't
faith
even
that
hear
you
a word I
have,
said.
hold on for a second. Oh, I heard you. The first leap of faith is virgin.
Yep.
Okay. If we look at the stats, please pull up the stats of how many women
It
qualify
doesn't
as a
hinge
virgin.
on virginity.
You said
That's the
virginity. I'm just
baseline.
letting you know.
Oh my
You
God.
brought it up.
In
Now,
America,
in America, what women percentage qualify as virgins? All right. So you're going to say very few. So you know this.
7%, age
7
22 to 34.
7% of women are virgins at 22 to 34. And let's be honest, these 7% are morbidly obese. These 7% are morbidly obese.
7%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what?
So now we have.
God, this guy. Do you know what a baseline for an argument is?
That was the baseline.
Yeah,
You
and
want to say
so
now? Do we want to
the
increase
base-
the body count?
Yeah,
I mean,
the-
because
yes,
if you're looking,
that was the whole point of the baseline of the argument.
So right now,
Bro, Andrew again is trying to argue an outlier and serve it to the majority, bro. 7% of women from a marriageable age, 7% of marriage or of women in a marriageable age range, which 22 to 34 are virgins. 7%. That means 93% of them have multiple body counts, bro. And you're saying if you get a virgin, where
we can pull up how many women in Gen Z, because this is marital age women, would have a body
That's
count
not the only
lower than 5.
No,
because
millennials
now
are
we're
also marriageably aged. What do you mean?
okay. Millennials, younger
Yeah.
millennials.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's no point in older people getting married. They're not procreating. All right, they're gonna have 1 or 2
Right.
kids.
Older
That doesn't
people
help
do
us.
procreate.
Not that much. All right,
That's
they're gonna
true,
have 1 or
but
2 kids.
the
All
thing-
right.
Oh my God, Andrew! Now, look how Andrew tries to change the goalposts. In a normal argument with an OnlyFans bitch who 22-year-old, 19-year-old OnlyFans bitch, he would say, "You better get married now. You better get married soon. You better get married while you still got eggs." But now he's saying, "Oh well, apply this marriage statistic to older people. Older people aren't having kids, Andrew, because her eggs are gone. Then you get to a high risk pregnancy. You get a geriatric pregnancy, Andrew. I know you've heard this argument multiple times. I know you've seen this argument multiple times. You've made this argument to these young women that you talk to on the whatever podcast, but now you're trying to shift the goalpost into an older demographic. Well, shift the goalpost into the older demographic and you'll find none of those women are virgins either. The young women are virgins and the older women are not virgins. So what you're trying to prescribe does not apply to the majority of the population.
Listen, it said in the
What do you
Bible, in
mean?
your Bible, it says
Yeah.
be fruitful and multiply,
Uh-huh.
not add. All right. We're not adding one little autistic kid. We're adding, we're multiplying.
That would be
All right?
multipling.
No, it wouldn't be multiplying.
Yes,
Having
it would.
one little bright
if
ass
you have
kid.
3 and you have one more, that's
All right,
multiplying.
multiplying by 1. All right, that's
So
not
multiplying.
an answer. Okay, listen, we're multiplying
Okay.
by multiples. You know what I'm talking about. Now listen.
Yeah, that is a
you
multiple
Want,
that
the,
we're
hold on for a
multiplying
second. Hold on
by.
for a second. You want to convince me
Uh-huh.
that there's going to be women of low body count in this secular world we live in to make your scenario
They're
work,
more
to
likely-
enforce women to have
Yeah.
sex with their
They're gonna be
husband
more
from
like-
the pulpit.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
This is very strange.
Also, you're not forcing a virgin woman to have sex with a man. Like, it's not happening. If you get a virgin, it's on her time. It's on her time. It's when she wants to do it. And most likely she's not even going to be that sexual. If she's a virgin between the age of 22 and 34 at any one of those age groups and she's not going to be sexual, bro, you're going to be in a sexless marriage.
Well, I have all
From a
the data
secular
to back
person.
my. Show me
from a very
anything.
very small percentage. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it works in a podunk town. I don't
Doesn't
know where
just
you're
work in a
from.
podunk
We're
town.
talking about the metropolises. We're talking about major
And
cities.
how is your
And you're talking
plan
about
going to mitigate
virginity.
that? How
You're
is your
I
plan
asked
going to
you-
mitigate
remember,
that?
I don't know if you remember. I asked you. All right.
And I
This is the
told
question
you.
and you came back with virgins.
No.
And you came back with
Oh my God.
enforcing
Why
sex
do
from
you
the
only give
pulpit.
half the argument? That's why you can't respond to my arguments. So let's do it again. If you want
Please.
to mitigate Mitigate.
Force women to have lower body
You're not,
counts.
dude. How's it force?
Go ahead.
How's it force?
You're the one.
I mean, you're gonna have to force them because they're not going to choose that. So it's gonna have to be by force, buddy, because they're not choosing that on their own.
Enforcing sex.
How
with the
is it?
husband.
How
do you
are we
enforce
using
sex?
force?
How are you enforcing sex to the
through
husband from the pulpit?
through social pressure, doofus. The same way you would with
Okay,
everything.
Gentlemen, your wife is going to have sex with you because church reverend enforced her to have sex with you.
Do you think?
Okay, please pull up the chat.
Yeah, pull
His
up the chat.
suggestion is to have a church reverend enforce you
They're
to
not
have
enforcing
burning
it.
desire to have sex with your
Enforce
husband.
requires force. Enforce is a derivative of force. You can't enforce absent force. No one's saying force.
This is how your sex is going to be had in his marriage. It's through enforcement through the religious pulpit.
No, it's going to be
this
the
is
idea.
2025,
If it's
and we're
the
still here
idea-
somewhere on Little House on the Prairie.
If it's the idea,
I would love
that
to have
women
this reality.
If it's the idea that women have and men have both, that they're not supposed to deprive each other from this because that is how they live the life of a Christian. The case of the matter is that they try to keep themselves sexually appealing to the partner. They try to keep themselves moving towards that state where they're found appealing. That's part of that. Why do you think? And by the way, you keep saying force. Can you demonstrate anywhere that I said that there would be any force involved with any of this, or that it's even necessary? Enforce is force.
Correct. That's what. So I was
So
correct
where
by
is
using
the force? Where?
You tell me. You're the one.
You're
that's gonna
asked the
take-
question.
Wait, you're the one that told me the church reverend is going to come enforce marriage.
No,
and sex.
when?
You said that earlier.
No, I said the
Enforcement
ecclesiastical
from the pulpit-
authority
from the
uses
pulpit.
social pressures.
Social pressure
That's
to
not
make your
force.
wife fuck your husband.
No, you're not
So
making them
that's-
do anything.
Okay, to encourage them to fuck their
Yeah.
husband. Okay, this
Don't you encourage people's wives to fuck them?
I don't need to be in their bedrooms that much.
Yeah, I
can't
mean, if
force her to
somebody,
do
if,
anything.
a, wo- if
Listen, I
somebody
can't
called
force
you,
a woman to do
if
very
a woman
much.
called you and said, "I don't sleep with my husband. He seems angry at me," would you encourage him or her to sleep with him?
I wouldn't encourage her to do anything, especially with
You
me.
wouldn't
I don't
encourage
mess
her
with
to do
I don't mess with married women. That's their
Brilliant.
business.
So your solution is fucking nothing. Nothing.
My solution.
What? Oh my God, bro! You can't convince a woman who doesn't want to have sex with her husband to do the opposite. In this Me Too era, dude, bro is trying to get people. He's trying to get a case put on somebody.
Is very clear.
What is it?
You're telling me at this particular point that you're going to enforce through social pressure. Social pressure.
That's not
Hold on for a
force.
second. Social
There's no
pressure
enforcement.
social pressure enforces women to be very promiscuous at this particular point.
Yep.
Now, you're talking about 7% of the population or better, maybe 10, that are going to fall under this category.
And it's not better. It's 7%. 7%, and they're all morbidly obese.
This is going to lead a wave of
There's no woman between the age of 22 34 who's a virgin who's like hot or attractive mildly at all. It's just not possible.
women sleeping with their husbands.
You got Sophie Raines still claiming she's a virgin. If you believe that shit, I got some swamp water in Florida, or I got some swamp land in Florida to sell you, bruh.
Through social pressures. When social pressure.
What's good, Lionheart Fitness? He says, "What's good, King? What's good, bro?" I love bread too. Says that he says this is quite embarrassing coming from a man that a man needs to get the church involved in the bedroom. Exactly.
Quite tells them the opposite. Let me move. Let me.
I don't
handle
even know
this.
what the hell you're talking about at this point.
Exactly. It's very difficult. I know.
He
It's
can't
very
follow.
difficult for you. I know exactly, and very nice tactic. But listen,
It's not a tactic. I really am trying my hardest to understand.
You're taking a very small scenario to
Yeah.
make it the large scenario. When I'm telling you the larger scenario is the reality, and you're telling me
Both are
if
reality.
I do this, if I do that.
No.
Both are not reality. Again, Andrew Wilson is arguing the outlier. You can't win an argument arguing the outlier, bro. You just can't.
This is
So
a
are
very
you.
small percentage.
You're doing the same
I'm
thing.
telling you about
if
what's
you get
happening.
married, you may get a
No, I
divorce.
said
you
when.
may, if this happens, then this may.
No, if you get married, it's more likely for you to get divorced than not. Whereas what you're prescribing, Andrew, is to marry an Orthodox Catholic Christian virgin. Well, brother, you're talking about 7% of women that are virgins in general. You're not even talking about what percentage of those are religious women.
It happen.
We already looked at the statistics of it likely happening.
Yeah, no,
so that is
no.
likely to happen.
First of all, even the
Can you
statistics you
pull up
looked
the
at.
statistics again?
The pull up
The
the
marriage
statistics
statistics, the
for the
divorces.
Christians. It's actually not likely, is
Overall
it?
in the United States. Overall in the United States.
Yeah,
So it only in order for it to work, you have to be white.
You need to break
make a
this
certain
down by
income. Hold on for a
demographics.
second. You need to, of
You want me to
course.
break it down?
So
And social
so you want to go.
economics.
You want to go. In order for your marriage to work, they have to be white, Christian.
They don't have to be white.
Make money,
No.
and then also probably live in a certain region.
If it's the
now,
case
what if that's
that-
not
yeah.
the case? Because
Yeah.
in the United States, I don't know where you live, but in the caves
Then
and
we use
hills
the
of the United-
apparatuses.
If you take the rest of the United States, they're highly not that. That is outside of those demographics.
And don't
so
you wanna
what if
change
they're-
that?
What if they're outside of that?
Don't
What
you
if they're
wanna-
not white
don't-
and Christian?
don't you wanna
What if
change
they're
that?
not Christian to make 100K? What do you suggest then?
Yeah, so here's what I would suggest. If it's the case that in the black community, you have more divorces than in the white community, there's going to be contributing factors for why that is. I don't think that black people are just ontologically different than white people, do you? Do you just believe that at their core they're just ontologically different, or do you think that they're the same? Because if that's the case, if we're equal people and equal people groups, then there must be some other social factors which are relating to this that increase the divorce rate in the black community that doesn't exist yet in the white community. If that's the case, we would specifically target those issues to prevent that from happening, right? We're going to do this
What is
across.
it?
We're going to do this across the board.
Well, what would they be?
For the black community, there's a bunch. One, you have a distinction in economic certitude. The second one is you got a massive abortion rate, which is super problematic. Another one is you use matriarchal structures in the family home instead of patriarchal.
I mean, the abortion rate is not affecting marriage per se. It's not directly affecting marriage. These women who are getting abortions, they are they're not married, they're single women.
Huge issue that you have. By the way, when it was Christian based, it didn't happen. It was a patriarchal structure inside those black homes. And boy, they didn't put up with shit. Not the case anymore. So you have multiple factors here which need to be addressed. I agree with that. Nobody ever disagreed with that, though. What we're trying to do is look at the mitigation of risk. And even for the black community,
We handled that already.
If the black community moves in to these conventionally traditional churches, they still will have the same ecclesiastical authority, which will assist them in governing their marriage that white people would have, and it would still assist with the mitigation of risk. What's the alternative? It's just degeneracy, right?
We're gonna go 5 more minutes to the halfway point, and I'm gonna do a part 2 tomorrow. But we'll continue this. I'm breaking it down. I'm breaking down every one of Andrew's arguments, and Coach Greg Adams is too. But yeah.
Right? The alternative is just we'll just hump them and never get married. Well, what good does that do for blacks? What good does that do? It just leads to more abortion. It just leads to more degeneracy. It leads to high crime rates, and the single motherhood's out of control. So, what are you doing to prevent any of that? Nothing. Nothing. Tell me what? What?
Okay, thank you. You said things that people have known for the past 45 years,
You
but
gotta
I
answer the
appreciate that.
question.
Hold on for a second. Thank you for contributing to a common conversation that people know, but you offer no other solution. That's great.
Even
Now,
I
here's
did.
the problem. Here's a problem with this. It's an if scenario. That would be great if we can go back to this. It would be great if we can go back and look at and say that blacks, when they were in the 40s and 50s, they had more stable relationships and marriages than even white folks. Here's the issue.
Okay.
Why stop at the 40s? Let's talk about 1863.
Okay.
Your tradition seems to always hit this point of 1940s where you shine this light of traditionalism that you've never lived in, that seems to be in a snapshot of something that you don't even know about. Then when I fast
You're not
forward
even
20
saying anything, dude.
again, you're not listening. When I fast forward to 1970, when it falls all apart with no fault divorce, based on what I've been arguing, what happens? All that traditionalism falls apart. Why don't we take it further? Why don't we take it back to bride prices? I mean, how far in tradition you're going to go? You're only going to bang your head around 1940 and 50 because you watched a couple of movies and I Love Lucy episodes? That's not tradition.
Okay.
That was a snapshot in history that you're trying to achieve again.
So
take it back further. There's no marriages in the
Fine.
black community.
Let's say we'll take it. Let's say we take it all the way back to the 1700s. Let's just say, just for the sake of it, right? And that I'm totally wrong about all this, just for the sake of argument. Let's just say, what is your prescription to deal with any of those issues when you're telling men in the black community to not get married? How is that going to assist with abortion? How's that going to assist with strong fathers in the home? How's that going to assist with the only demographic population which can't reproduce itself? How? Can you give me a single prescription to any of that?
Let me tell you something. I agree with you on this.
I just want a prescription, dude.
Here's the problem. I agree with you. And listen, if you had any ability to provide this prescription better than Louis Farrakhan or Martin Luther King,
Does that mean no?
give me a second. Listen to me. These men have tried to pretty much heal this issue, and they haven't.
No, they didn't.
Andrew Wilson certainly not to. Neither will CGA. So I don't have a prescription
That's
for the black
right.
community because
That's
the
right.
black community is pretty much doomed at this particular point. They have too much degeneracy. They have single mother rates at the 70 and 80%.
black
But I'm going to tell you
bullshit.
something. You want to come in here and tell me something about ecclesiastics, and you're telling me about the reality of the black community, how to fix it. Nobody's been able to fix that community. So there's nothing you can do, and I can't offer any solution for that.
Look,
now,
is
at
it-
that particular
yeah.
point, you're saying the risk is higher. It certainly will be higher under those matriarchal conditions. So you get no argument from me there. So at that point, where's your statistics lie then?
Well,
Where's your solution then?
I'll tell you again. So I'm glad
He's going to solve the community problems here. I'd love to hear
didn't
this.
say. Listen again. I'm not saying
The black
that-
community problem
Yeah,
solved
yeah.
by Andrew Wilson.
That says the guy who literally
I
just
would
got
love to
done
hear
saying,
this.
I
I would
have
love to hear
zero prescriptions.
Because nobody does.
Yeah,
That
well, here's
community
the
is here.
thing.
But I would love to hear
Here's
the
the
black
thing.
It's like everybody knows what it's gonna take to fix the black community. The question is, the black community willing to do that? We'll get to a stopping point there. I think that was a good stopping point, and then we'll do the part 2 tomorrow. So I stopped at a halfway point. We'll get into part 2 tomorrow. But ultimately, Andrew Wilson is arguing the outlier versus the majority, and that's where he falters in this debate. But you already know what it is, man. It's your boy Reclaim Your Throne. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Team relationship question, email down below with a screenshot of your CashApp so you pay your advertisement. Y'all need to bang your mark freaking with the BS. You already know.
Want to become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne.